Chris Rogers batted through the last day of the LV County Championship match between Somerset and Middlesex in Taunton as the visitors pulled off a miraculous escape to earn a hugely significant draw, which does their chances of staying in the First Division no harm at all. They started the last day badly though, Darvin Milan edging his first delivery of the morning to Marcus Trescothick to go for his overnight 34. On a brighter note, Rogers soon added the 3 runs he needed to get to his 400 of the season and the 70th of his first-class career, this one coming off 156 balls in just more than 3 hours at the crease, in which time the Middlesex leader had struck 17 fours. Not many of those many tons would have been so important. That's because at 61 for 7 in their first innings, replying to Somerset's 523 for 9 declared, Middlesex looked certain to lose this game and take away only 1 point, which would have meant a nerve-shredding last game at Lancashire next week. Thanks to the likes of Owen Morgan and Toby Rowland-Jones on the previous morning, and now Rogers, that 1 point was to turn into 7 from this game, a much better return and one which gives them all the aces as they head to Manchester. Milan was out at 140 for 2, but another wicket was not forthcoming for a very long time. By lunch, Rogers, who'd started this day on 97, was raising his bat again for getting to 150, an innings now using up 253 deliveries, from which 21 fours have been struck. It was a magnificent achievement. Middlesex lost only 1 wicket in the final morning session, the pitch now almost unrecognisable from the one which welcomed the players at the outset. Joe Denley produced one of his better knocks of an indifferent season to support his captain admirably for 52 overs overall. The second new ball was Somerset's chance to get amongst the wickets. It was taken with Middlesex still trailing by 70 runs after following on, but Alfonso Thomas had no luck with it. Denley played and missed 3 times in that single over, but also produced some fine shots in a knock which was helping his side out enormously. This single took him to a 120-ball half-century, an innings containing 5 fours. His partnership with Rogers was now well into 3 figures, and Somerset must have felt that a game that was totally theirs at the halfway stage was now slipping from their grasp. Especially with Rogers continually producing the kind of shots that only he can produce. His technique is unique, but it is one which has served the 37-year-old extremely well over a 17-year career, which has now brought the Australian nearly 23,000 first-class runs. These were some of his more crucial ones. This long partnership was finally ended by Craig Overton, who trapped Denley in front for a 3-hour 60. Morgan had started the recovery for his side but was out for a duck in the second dig, a bad misjudgment to be bowled shouldering arms to Overton. Overton was suddenly delivering a very good spell, and he was then unlucky not to see the back of Rogers, this 4 at last balancing these scores on the board. With just 1 session remaining, Middlesex had got to 300 for 4 and the scores were level. All that was left was for Rogers to complete his second double 100 of the summer and the 11th of his career, which he did with his 29th 4 off his 381st delivery, made in 7.5 hours. At the end of the over, with the score on 328 for 4, Rogers shook hands with Trescothick. A remarkable recovery completed and 5 points for the draw in the bag. The 7 accrued overall leaves Middlesex 19 points clear of Lancashire, and 5 more points at Old Trafford next week will guarantee survival. Somerset took 11 points for their efforts, which means that a top 3 finish for them is now out of reach, ahead of their trip to the champions Yorkshire next week.